bro.
Hey guys.
Hey, new
Back
episode.
again.
New episode. We're on a spree today.
Yeah.
Because it's been the third one, right?
Fourth one, I think.
Yeah, in a row.
Yeah.
Because we did Friday, and then we did Saturday, and then Sunday, and then now.
Yeah.
Which is Monday. 7th of October. So we're on a spree right now. We're gonna start like we usually do, with a little update on the books. For me, I learned about the minimum viable product, which I think is it's also a quite good idea.
How long are you into the book?
20 more minutes-ish.
From 1.5 hours, close to 2 hours?
I guess. I haven't checked in a while. So.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm also in the same area, right? So I was just
Yeah, maybe I've surpassed you, I don't know. But the minimum viable product is still a good idea, and I'll try to break it down in the way that I understood it, which is basically when you have your grandiose idea, like most people do, when they come up with a product idea, you break it down enough so that you have something that you can do right now. So say that instead of trying to make a car company from scratch, you start selling tires or something.
Yeah, just parts, OEM parts, I guess.
And then you build up to the next complexity. Or if you're starting a gym, instead of like hiring private coaches that know everything, you start with aerobic fitness because that's what you're used to, or something like that. So a minimal viable product seems to me to be a distillation of the primary idea to a point where you can commit to it right now and then do something about it so you can learn the experience.
I mean, that's why startups always have a niche, right?
Yeah.
Most startups are very, very niche. They just solve
and that's problem. Not an obvious idea for everyone. So what do you think? You can also tell the story about like when you went to the conference, right, in Switzerland, if you want.
So yeah, like that's what, like every startup starts with a niche, right? So they were saying the same thing, right? Like yesterday, last podcast, you were saying, right? Like that instead of dog walking, you just talk to the people and then you end up with dog sitting. Instead of creating something really complicated, now you don't even have to move. You are just going to be there in the pet's place itself and then just get paid, instead of just walking and then getting some licenses and stuff. Now you can just stay at the pet's place itself with no license. You're bypassing so many things.
Yeah.
And then of course we are going to talk about the veterinary clinic, like one of the ideas of what business to start. Since we both are studying veterinary medicine, we were talking about how about starting a clinic or something. So we decided why to start a clinic. Clinic has a lot of moving parts. Instead we could break it down to something smaller, which we could do now, or we have some kind of expertise that only we could do, or for the better price, so that it is scalable as well. So like a lot of moving parts. Of course we will come to that.
Eventually. We were thinking that would be the third topic for today after the books. So it's a really interesting idea. But I was mostly thinking about how niche things start out. You mentioned like one of the businesses at the conference that you went to in Switzerland when you got invited there was like a guy who's optimizing space inside satellites or something.
Oh yeah,
that's super specific.
Yeah. So those guys, what they're doing is they are trying to help you design satellites in such a way that you are respecting the dimensions of the spacecraft's cargo module that it can take. Of course you guys know the dimensions, but they help you optimize and have multiple satellites in a cubicle or like a kind of a container. It's basically a box inside the spacecraft that carries your satellites. Basically a box actually.
Yeah.
So they found that small niche, and then now they are already getting clients, I guess, and they got invested in Switzerland, and they both are studying in EPFL if I'm not wrong, and then they started it. So that's one. That's what you meant. Okay, I was because in Switzerland there are so many things happened. I have 100 companies in my mind. I don't know which one you are talking about. But
I meant the conference that you had to pay a little for and also got selected for. So you went on a trip. and then you had everyone pitched an idea, and that was the one that got a lot of attention, right? Yeah. Which is extremely specific.
They were one of the speakers actually. So and there was another guy who was pitching about high resolution space astronomy or telescope, the Hubble telescope, all these things are there, right? Instead of sending expensive satellites to space and capture them, use AI, use a normal long range camera or something, whatever, and then use AI to make it super resolution in some ways.
Oh, you so just kind of let it fill in the gaps. Yeah. Okay.
That's also one niche where the space guys were interested, and they both were talking after the conversation, and then maybe they were interested to fund, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool thing. I think it's a good thing that you went to that one actually, because you got a lot of perspective after you came home from that one.
And also like getting very tired, desperate of trying to have startups couple of times and failing, and then I almost like gave up for a couple of months, and then going back to Switzerland really like brought everything back again.
Yeah, because you heard all the stories about people who failed like 7 times.
Oh my god, the space guys, no salary, not getting paid, and there's another guy from the photonics field, they build lasers actually.
Yeah.
That guy, oh my god, his story was even more sad. He has a wife and then kids, and then there's no stable job, no money. Like, wife is asking, when are you going to get a real job? And then he's like going to customer after customer trying to freaking make a sale, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Straight out of a movie. Yeah, literally.
That's the thing, right? When you follow your gut feeling or passion, it does not mean that you guys will immediately succeed. You have to go through a ringer, you know, like the world is so brutal and ruthless, you know, so many ways. Yeah.
Yeah, but it also helped you realize that you're not as bad as you thought.
Yeah.
Compared to them.
Yeah, your story feels like nothing after listening to those guys, you know.
Yeah, because you've only got one that's kind of failing or whatever, right?
Yeah. And then speaking about all these topics, currently like my book I'm reading is The Code Breaker. The reason I'm doing is potentially one day to maybe start a company and do research as a PhD scholar and stuff. But yeah, at the end of the day I also have the intention to make an impact in the society through some kind of invention or a discovery, however it is. So yeah, I am this book is insane, dude. I thought the Elon Musk book was great, but this book is so crazy. It not only talks about the science part of the thing, just getting inspired and to do this stuff, but also just listing all the politics, backstabbing, betrayal, people. Most problems are due to people, collaborators, your peers, you know, whom you decide to write a paper with, and then how they react, and then the different politics of different labs, you know. Like there was a story where there was a student whose what is a supervisor or the teacher, postdoctoral advisor is there. He did not tell the postdoctoral advisor that he is doing that project secretly with another lab, and then they are filing for the journal publication on the same day, where the supervisor is publishing the same topic, and this guy and that secret lab are publishing the same topic without telling the supervisor. The supervisor got so mad. Dude, you guys could have told me, I would have let you do your thing. We could have collaborated, you know, in the same university.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous, you know. And then also the same thing happened between East Coast and West Coast, you know, people from MIT, Harvard versus the people in the East Coast, like West Coast, the California, Berkeley guys, Stanford, I guess.
I guess you could help people that are thinking about like PhD afterwards. It's not like as rosy as you might think afterwards. It's equal when it comes to backstabbing as well. It's hard to avoid almost.
It's like, you know, this book is like more like a training, you know, what are all the stuff that you need to be prepared to avoid or prepared to face.
Experience.
So It's not
Great to
like I
see.
am a PhD guy, I have this research thesis and I'm gonna nail it, and then we go forward and then we make a company out of it. It's not at all a straight road, you know.
Yeah.
Oh my god, so many problems.
Oh God, why does it always have to be like that?
Secrecy, jealousy, envy, all those feelings, man. Credit, giving credit, not giving credit, taking
Yeah.
credit,
You would-
or that person is given more importance even though I discovered that. It's like I only collaborated, I joined that person in my lab, now she is the face of the thing, you know. It's like, so god.
I mean, you'd think people would grow up a little bit more, but I mean, it won't.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's all, I think that's how shows that human feelings are like, no matter how many degrees you have, patents, publications, you still have those urges, you know, the human emotions like envy, jealousy, like competitiveness, secrecy, all those things,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, just the instinct to win at something.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, and competitiveness in that field is definitely a
Yeah.
lot more. And God, they were.
And I did like close to 50% of the book, like 2 to 3 hours I did in the last day or so. In the gym, walking, going everywhere, anywhere, I'm just listening to the book. And it's crazy, dude. Wow. And then so many cool stories also, you know. One of the professors when he was a child, went to a science fair and participated. His project was like basically giving hormones to insect catching plants like Venus flytraps and then making them massive, you know. And then he won some second place or third place competing with other dads who made these projects for their children while he did it for himself, you know. The reason was because they handed him over the keys to the chemistry lab to let him explore, you know, giving their freedom. That was so cool. And then one of the same professor is now interested in bringing the woolly mammoth back as well.
Yeah, and he's also selling kits, right?
Yeah, I almost forgot. Yeah, another thing is he's also collaborating with another guy who kind of hated all the hierarchy, bureaucracy of working in an academic institution or for a private firm or a public company. He just quit his job in NASA and then he ended up creating Odin Labs or something.
Odin.
Yeah, is it lab or not? I'm not sure. Like Odin is the name of the company. Odin Biotech or something. So yeah, so they start selling CRISPR-based genetic engineering kits to anybody in the public. You know, the first kit they sold was the CRISPR kit of modified DNA, which you can inject into a toad or a frog, and it will develop double the size of muscles.
Yeah, I mean,
it's freaking nuts to be the first product.
It's a weird product to start with. It's basically toys for animals.
Yeah.
You can make like, what was it, jellyfish glow?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then now we both went to the website and browsed the thing.
Briefly checked it out. Yeah.
They had glowing axolotl. Yeah. You're like, what the hell, man? Like, but it's so interesting though. I love these things, these creative, innovative things. You know, the same guy, the Professor George Church is now also the scientific advisor for this lab also. I like him so much because he's encouraging these wild, innovative ideas, you know. Not
it's definitely
just
wild.
Yeah, crazy stuff. But I really love it though. I mean, if you had time, if you ever want to just check it out, the biotechnology side of things. Yeah, it's crazy, man.
It's a lot of learning, of course. When it comes to frogs, you will have to. I mean, if you double muscle the frog, you probably won't live very well, if you see what I mean. But in order to learn, I guess it could be somewhat useful to see what makes things happen in animals like toads or frogs.
I mean, and also they started talking about the applications as well. The applications where like they are talking about removing cancer from existing patients, sickle cell conditions they are treating. So they are basically changing the genetic carriers of sickle cell disease to completely making them healthy and no rehabilitation, like no prolapsing or what is that? Relapsing, sorry. Relapsing.
Prolapsing
It's a lot of veterinary medicine stuff, you know, vaginal prolapse. I'm like too much into those things, So,
too much into prolapse.
Yeah.
That's good for you.
So no more relapse and stuff. It was very exciting one. So I'm just halfway through. I just don't know what 50 more percentage into CRISPR is possible. That's just a single technology, right? But of course, rightly so, it got even the Nobel Prize as well. So on 20.
Oh, it did.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
That's also a big conflict and other stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, because it's in the book, like how that worked out, or what?
Yeah, but who are all the real contributors?
Yeah, exactly.
Who just showed in test tube, but who really did in the cells of a mammalian
Yeah. Okay.
creature, you know? So it's like, so who should be given the credit? The person who first of all brought the technology, just showed it in a bacteria, or the person who did it for the mammalian cells and stuff?
Yeah, probably mammalian cell would be.
Yeah, I mean, it's very subjective. I personally think if this person did not show this works and it could be used anywhere, probably that person would never know that is even possible in mammalian cell, right? Like, it's like very
But I would
hard
argue the CRISPR thing is a natural process in bacteria anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like easier to replicate. Like there's a bunch of factors that bacteria can do that, I mean, sure, it's great for them, but we can't really replicate it.
Exactly. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's a big deal, of course. Yeah. But is it worth it, the Nobel Prize or the, I don't know. It's like
the initial discovery.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like kind of finding out antibiotics, but it doesn't work on humans, then it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But if it works on humans, then you get a Nobel Prize.
Yeah, true.
So that's just...
So the book overview of both of us.
That was the book overview.
Yeah, so let's go to the next topic.
Yeah, we have two other topics. It's diets and supplements, and also, which I know you do a lot. I mean, for me, when it comes to like diet,
yeah,
it's mostly...
I just got a work message. I was just panicking. Oh my god, what is it?
What might it be?
Yeah.
No, for me, I don't really struggle a lot with weight gain or weight loss. Mostly weight loss I struggle with. Maintaining enough calories. I am still slightly underweight. I lost weight during the summer.
That to going back home.
Yeah, going back home for a...
consequences of working in a clinic, I guess.
Yeah, I lost 3 kilos. I was 71 and then I got to 78.
Wow.
68, sorry.
For me, the problem is the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Gaining weight, a lot of weight though. So yeah, for me, I had an injury in the collarbone and rib cage in the martial arts thing, and the third year was so hard, and I was juggling off so many jobs. So I just decided not to quit the gym and just focus on the education part of things, just to pass the third year.
Yeah, that I would say that was second year, because we had microbiology.
Yeah, all those times, but especially third year, I could not completely go, right? So yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, and then finally I decided to go back again, now getting the diet back into. I love food. I love cheese, especially, so I gained a lot of weight though. I even gained like 15 kgs or something. Currently I'm like oscillating around 80. I would prefer, I think what is good for me is around 70ish. So I kind of have to lose like 10 kilograms. So I am already starting to go to the gym for the last 2 months per se, and on and off. Due to the floods and other things.
Oh,
right?
God, yeah.
So, other things. But other than that, I was consistent, and even today I went to the gym. So I do martial arts in the gym currently, and everything is fine. My weight is coming off, but the diet is still very high. I'm still not like going in a calorie deficit, you know, just kind of too high in calories. So I don't know. So I need to be patient. I think I put this weight over a period of a year. So I would say at least it will take 6 months of consistent
workout. I think you'll lose it eventually.
Yeah. I mean, also I have very high metabolism. I don't look that fat, but I know there is a lot of visceral fat in the belly, so belly fat. So yeah. Other than that, that's the fat that I wanted to burn and then be more fit, you know, like you feel better and everything is good, right?
Yeah, the thing I realized mostly about when it comes to dieting is that it's mostly, as the name suggests, related to food and not so much exercise.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of people struggle with weight loss, is that they go too much in on both weight, like exercise and diet.
Yeah.
And then they just, when you could have just focused on diet and fixed it that way. But rather they do both, burn themselves out and don't do any after a couple of months. So that's the most important thing I realized about diet. Is that it's all with the food you eat.
Yeah.
Like if you want to lose weight, if you eat nothing, you will not gain weight.
Yeah.
But if you work out but you still eat too much, you will still gain weight.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Are you either stop losing or gaining also? That's all. Like, it's so weird though. I just realized that, like, I'm just still eating a lot. You know what else? The funny thing about me is my diet hack. The biggest hack is I have this weird or strange habit of eating in the pan itself because I just am lazy to wash up another plate.
Yeah.
So the moment I take a bowl or a plate and put the food there, I automatically eat less because it won't hold the entire pan's quantity. So I automatically get portioned into for the next meal. It could breakfast could be split into breakfast and lunch rather. You know, I'm not going back and finishing the entire pan. The problem is I eat the entire pan. That's why I gain. I'm eating excess, you know. It's not that I'm hungry and I need it. I'm just eating. I'm just shoving food in because that's what I did for the last 1 year, right?
Yeah.
Stress eating, all those shit. Addicted to sugar.
Yeah, because the first year you were a lot skinnier.
Yeah, 63 kgs though.
Oh wow, that's a big difference.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah, and then you still had the injury when you were in the first year, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always injured.
Yeah.
When something is broken, but yeah, that's a video for another day. Yeah.
Just listing all of that, I think, would take a while. But yeah, so you've managed to be there at some point, and you had to lose the weight just to get back at what was it, 68 you said, or?
What do you mean?
The weight you said that was less, 60 something.
63.
63, okay.
Was the lowest I was ever been. But average is around 66, let's say. But at that time I was so skinny, you know. I was not also packing muscle either. So now I am working out the last 2-3 months. I have more muscle. I can see it and feel it. Like I can see build up of muscle already. So obviously going back to 63 is not the wise thing. I think 70 plus or minus 3 kg.
I
not
think 70 is a good weight for you.
Yeah. So I just need to like lose like 7 to 8 kgs kind of, you know. Yeah, and then the supplements part of the thing while Christian is checking the BMI.
Yeah, it's a good weight for you.
Which is what, 70 or 78? What are you putting?
70.
Okay. Put 79 now, and then okay, put my height as 177 or something. Yeah. Okay.
Just slightly over.
Yeah. Zoom in. Age 29.
Yeah, then it might change actually.
Yeah.
We're just doing this. Is probably not very entertaining for anyone
Okay.
else.
So
you're almost there.
I am between normal and overweight, by the way. I'm the separation between normal and overweight.
Yeah, the limit is 25 and he's 25.2. So
okay.
that's pretty much added.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, you're losing weight, so you'll probably get there eventually.
That too. I'm sweating also in the winter. That means I heat up my body nicely when I train. I still do the martial arts. I do the punching and kicking of Muaythai. And I also sometimes get sparring partners in the gym, make friends, and then we all start punching each other. So yeah, I will definitely lose weight once. I know that my body, because I've been going to the gym for a long time. So yeah.
Yeah, and you've lost weight before.
Yeah,
so.
And the supplements part now. I personally am like a huge advocate for it because one thing is I'm dark skinned, right? In my case, there's a lot of melanin, and I'm in Europe where there's less sunlight. So vitamin D is something that we lack. It's also scientifically proven as well that even during the COVID times, Indians, Somalians, or Africans suffered more because of lack of sunlight, especially in European region where it has a direct correlation to COVID severity. Basically, people are severely affected when you also have low vitamin D. So
because you already have a resistance to it, right? Yeah.
Because of melanin, the absorption of sunlight is like African male is like 28 times has less ability to absorb the sunlight that a white person does. So I'm like in the middle, like 14% less than you guys. So see what I mean? So
it adds up,
Yeah, so I supplement multivitamins, and then my eyes, as I said, like in the previous podcast, I use lutein and zeaxanthin for my eyes. I think it really helps me completely, fix my. I mean, it's not improving it, but it stops the deterioration a bit. I can clearly feel that though when I take it. maybe it's a placebo, but it's scientifically proven as well. So you can do check it out. And I take iso whey protein, obviously the protein for protein, and then I take creatine and collagen. Both creatine is for increasing the strength and water holding capacity of your muscle, and also for your brain. Recent studies are saying that for your brain recovery and also intelligence and everything, for IQ as well. Creatine, who would have
Yeah.
thought? And then collagen. Basically, I'm a vegetarian. I don't get a lot of collagen from meat. Basically, nothing. So I have to supplement collagen. So because most of my injuries in my knees, rib cages, here cartilage was the one that was torn.
Oh
So
yeah.
I have a lot of tendon cartilage injuries, which clearly says I don't have the hyaluronic acid or the collagen. So I buy the hydrolyzed collagen. So that's something you have to buy. Do not buy the cheap version of collagen, which is not hydrolyzed. That means your body will not assimilate it. You're basically paying it out. So
Yeah, because hydrolyzed just means it's polarized so that you can attract it to your intestines, if you want to think of it
the
as
more
simply.
assimilation, more absorption will
Yeah.
happen. Yeah,
The more
retention.
polarized something is,
Mm.
but also excretion, right? It helps with excretion if it's polarized as well.
Yeah, but for some reason the hydrolyzed ones are basically easily broken down or catabolized, or easy for the intestine
Yeah,
to stop.
broken down before it gets pissed out.
Yeah. So these are the things currently I am taking though. And then the one more thing I take is the 7 blends of mushroom, shaga, shiitake, lion's mane, and cordyceps and few others which I forgot. So yeah, 7 things blended into powder. I just take it like a pinch, like 1 gram a day, very little quantity, even are as low as creatine. So yeah, this is my supplement stack though.
Yeah, I barely take anything. I take omega-3 and omega-6, that's it.
Oh, yeah, I take that also.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I have barely anything when it comes to supplements.
Yeah. So yeah, diet topic is done. I guess we covered 2 things, and then what else?
Yeah, and then we had the more, a little bit more intense topic, which is the problems that we kind of had with starting a company. We were thinking about veterinary clinic. We haven't started a company, by the way, just so that's obvious.
Yeah, we're just discussing.
We're just discussing in theory. And also your experience. So why veterinary clinic is a bad idea to start with.
Yeah.
You don't want to start with a veterinary clinic. You can get to it eventually as a veterinarian, but you don't want to start with it. And why do you think that is?
I mean, like there are several reasons for it. My personal opinions is what I'm gonna say. The thing is, we are all veterinary students. We don't have enough clinical experience at all.
Yeah,
for
that's
both of us.
exactly what I also think.
So when we do not know how a clinic runs, we should not be the person who should be running a veterinary clinic, because when you want to create a company, first of all you should solve a problem. What problem are we solving from the existing veterinary clinic? Are we better than the existing one? What is the existing clinic's problems that people and the doctors are facing? What are we fixing? We do not know. So I personally think we need to spend a couple of years to working as a vet to understand how a clinic works, how a successful clinic works. It's very important, and also how not to run the clinic also from bad examples. So you need to work in more than one clinic and different places, to get a bigger picture, I think. And then we can also get inspirations from the corporations, how they are able to run like 300 clinics at a time, how are they able to do it. So I think we need to understand how it works and then take a decision. That's why I'm thinking, why should we even start a veterinary clinic? Rather we should do something else which we can do already. Maybe for example, we both are students, we both are studying a lot in different domains, different areas. In my case engineering, in your case you do so many other things as well. So how about teaching students in medical school how to study, then expanding that to teaching for students in any medical school, human medicine, dental or veterinary, how to study, then teaching students in any university, college or schools how to study. So it's a better way to scale, but you start with being a helping students in veterinary medicine. So you start with a niche and you slowly scale. It is already a problem. We both know studying is something that is not taught. We have a lot to study in schools, but no school teaches you how to study or what to study.
There's no course on how to study material generally.
So in that way, you see, like there's a gradual scaling. So I personally think we should solve a single problem in a veterinary clinic. It could be a software, it could be a diagnostic tool, or it could be just working in a clinic to gather information. Then slowly, like in couple of years of experience, when we feel like we can really make a change in the way the practices are run currently and how you can improve it, definitely for sure, with some sufficient evidences and experiences, obviously then that will be a right time.
Yeah, and it's also, you mentioned the problem with starting a clinic in Europe versus America. You mentioned the guy who was on LinkedIn who had 40 different clinics in America, and how that's different from starting one in Europe.
Yeah. I personally think in Europe this more conservative in nature. There's a lot of restrictions and regulations. Of course, in USA also there are regulations and restrictions, but comparatively less, right? So in Europe it is, and also the taxations. So it makes it like, as we all know, like USA is more capitalistic in nature, so it's very easy to scale, or which comparatively or relatively easy to scale compared
America,
to Europe. In Europe, you know, right? The clinic that you worked for, the owner is, how long is he running the clinic for?
Well, more than his lifetime, because he inherited it.
So like, oh, okay. So how long is he responsible for the clinic though?
I don't know, he's
like
60
20,
plus
years?
now.
Oh, okay, let's say 30, 40 years or something, right? So how many clinics does he have?
One.
Yeah.
That I know of,
and
anyway.
The thing is, irrespective of USA or Europe, the point is, running a clinic is hard. It's really, really hard. There are so many moving parts. Having all the nitrous oxide, oxygen, the isoflurane, all the gases ready for the surgery.
These are anesthesia gases, by the way.
Yeah, thanks. So all these gases ready, the surgical tools ready, the sterilized equipments and the clothing ready, and then the cages ready for the patients, planning for how many patients we could expect, the space do we have for the waiters in the visiting area, things can break. There's so many logistics, you know, the drugs that we need to have stock for, and drugs that we don't want, the expired ones to be removed, the new ones to be brought in.
Yeah, food and return policies on food, because that's also something they sell, like on over-the-counter kind of medication is typically sold, like the return policies on those, expiry dates.
Yeah, and then
gauzes.
Dealing with patients, especially, and pet owners. So how are you going to handle the demand? How many patients do you expect? You know, like there is so many moving parts. And how are we going to document all of this? What software are we going to use? Is it SAP or what or a veterinary startup that's out there that is providing software? Are we going to go with that?
And how do you train all the employees? How do you ensure that even like nurses and assistants know the program?
How do you hire?
How do you hire? Especially
and how do you retain the good ones?
Yeah, how do you retain the good ones? How do you make sure that the pay is good enough that people want to stay? How do you ensure that the environment is not toxic? So it's not only just, it's basically like owning most businesses, but with a lot more extra steps.
That's why what we wanted to here clarify is, we are not saying it's a bad idea to run a veterinary clinic. It could be a great service. It could give you a lot of satisfaction and still a profitable business. Of course, we all know that veterinary medicine is profitable, but what we want to emphasize is we need a little bit of experience, like 5 to 10 years, maybe like, let's say he's 25 years of age, maybe at 35, working for a couple of years, he knows like the ins and outs of this field. Still it will be hard, right? Like,
it'll still be hard. Like
how much ever you plan, life always surprises you, slaps you in the face.
And that's including, like, you do not specialize. You only focus on how could I run a clinic, something like that. Because if you start specializing, you start like veering off running the clinic. So you have to like decide on these things. So that takes time, and then you have to remain consistent with it, because a lot can change in 10 years, right?
And the new drugs come, old things go obsolete. You have to update yourself. Not only you, the entire clinic, and then the protocols you guys change. You know, buying equipments for the clinic, renting a place. Do we have the initial capital to buy a place and rent it? Like, it's a massive thing, right? How about starting with just selling, let's say, antiseptics or something, or selling the sterilized surgical equipments or something smaller, even just the towels, for the cages, I guess.
Yeah.
Or just dog toys for the clinic, I guess. Every monthly you should give fresh dog and cat toys or something, food or something. I
Yeah.
don't know. Just do starting with small and then slowly maybe scaling that business, and then at some point start a clinic. If you straight away jump, I have seen so many people jump into these things and they really start hating what they loved.
Yeah.
I mean, most people who chose veterinary medicine are the very passionate people, and soon you start hating the profession that you loved once.
Yeah, you do notice that the spark is fading a little.
Yeah.
but yeah, I think
Practicing as a vet itself is a hard thing, right? Like, and owning a clinic is like you have to work as a vet and you have to have a responsibility of all the other things as well.
Yeah, on top of everything. It was a thing I was thinking about, but I can't remember it. Oh my god. Oh god. I cannot remember.
The clinic, anything about your...
Yeah, it was something about the actual clinic that I worked at some point. Oh god. I cannot remember now. Maybe it comes back later.
Yeah,
We'll
just
see.
going like the working shifts and stuff, trying to work the entire...
Yeah, we already discussed that. The tiredness of working in a place like that. You have to definitely be passionate about it, but that's not related to owning a clinic, I think.
Yeah, then
That's
you
more like
probably
working.
will not have a sleep at all. Yeah. And regulations, dealing with regulations.
Yeah, and the customers as well.
Yeah.
They can be crazy sometimes. If you
Yeah.
haven't worked in a clinic, dog owners can be very off hinge sometimes, off the hinges.
You'll get the strangest people, I have spoken to so many veterinarians. Almost all of them say the problem is not the animals, the pet owners,
Yeah.
Almost all the time, nobody said the case is difficult, the patient owner is difficult, God.
I got that specifically for horse doctors. Horse doctors have said that consistently 100% of the time that I've talked to them, that the horse owners are the worst problem.
Yeah, they spend a lot of money on these horses, and then something they have to euthanize the horse. I'm like, what the fuck? That's like $1 million horse. What do you think you're doing?
Yeah, exactly. So that you'll deal with a lot of problems there. But then, what is the solution? Do you think? I mean, the idea that I had was to, again, start with a smaller thing, so that you build up maybe a company, build some capital.
Yeah, and confidence, clients.
Confidence as well.
Will the idea even work? Are people even willing to pay?
Yeah, because you kind of have to choose a balance. That's exactly, now I remember what I wanted to say exactly. So it was, if you want to own a clinic and you just go for the clinic right away because your dream is to, like, if you've seen somebody who owns a clinic, and your dream,
it's cool to be
and your dream is to like own a single clinic and be like a local guy, and that's what you look up to, that's fine, for sure. Like the guy I work for is a local guy, very much a local guy. And I do look up to him, definitely. He's his work ethic is really good, and he's in a great mood all the time, despite all the work he has to do. So he's really something to look up to. So if that's something you want to do.
He loves his business and job and everything.
So that will it will have to be something that you wanted to do from the get-go, and that's something that you wanted to continue with for the rest of your life. Because if you start with a clinic, I think the growth will be very slow. Because what you'll notice is that certain veterinarians will own like 40 clinics, right? It'll be very different, like the one in America.
I mean, at that point, they're not working.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the main point here. If you're starting to if you work at one clinic and you own one clinic, your income will probably be pretty good. Pretty decent actually, and you'll be also working with animals. So you do the veterinarian's work. So you are practicing vet, but you're also a clinic owner, which means you can steer things a little at least.
Yeah.
So if that's what you want, I think that's still a viable plan to just go for a clinic. But if you want to own multiple clinics and maximize the amount of clinics that you own, then you will no longer ever work as a vet. So you have to make that choice. do you still want to work as a vet, be a worker, or be somewhere in between where you own a clinic,
and
or
also
be
the roles you guys play, the CEOs, do you like to talk to people, investors, potential leasing people, land leasing, building leasing, all those things. Are you willing to do all those things? Because these are things that we mostly don't think about,
Yeah.
We just think, oh, I want a veterinary clinic. Like, where is the building? Like, is it all following all the regulations that the Norwegian or the European regulations say?
I don't think a single house follows
so you basically
perfect...
then you have to build something from scratch or something to make the officials happy, and then you bleed crazy amount of money.
You bleed funds the entire time. Yeah. That's a problem as
and
well.
Also in your case, you were saying, right, the guy was handed over the clinic. So in his case, father. It was like a huge responsibility. Of course, he's doing a great job, but in cases like us where there is zero bank balance, so how are we?
Yeah, we have zero people in the family that do veterinary medicine. We have no guidance. We don't know.
I mean, nobody's waiting to hand over their clinic to us.
Unless there's something I don't know about.
So it's going to be from scratch. So which is most people. So yeah.
Most people would do it from scratch. In which case, I wouldn't advise it unless you only want to do... Because the guy before him, he struggled for a long time. He worked for a long time, and then he had a tiny building that he started with. That was in the 60s, something like that.
Wow.
So now it's a much larger building, but like work for 10, 15 years and then have a tiny building that's your own. So you want to start with a grandiose thing. That will take a while. So just be prepared for that. Work 15 years and then you'll have a tiny thing.
In India, that's how it works. You rent a shopping complex, a section like this. Okay, you have a glass door, just like a dentist will be in the next door. This section is for...
and then maybe we'll have a clothes store.
Exactly. So in India, it's very different though. It's still doable, There you can put like couple of $1,000 or euros and then you will be able to run a clinic, Yeah,
it's very strange in that way. But still, you will have to work for a long time and then you will have to start small, really small. You only have one operating table maybe or something like that.
I mean, first of all, like, how much can you do, right?
How much can you as a person do?
One itself will be too much. I mean, that's how it is gonna be. So
when you start a clinic, you probably manage to convince some people to join you, whatever. And but still, you'll start very small, and the progress will be small. That's also an important point. Is my impression of it. Of course, I haven't lived through this, but my impression of it: if you start right away with a clinic, aka after 10 years. First generation, then the progress will be very slow. After 2 generations, you've managed to build one clinic, maybe you could have bought 2, 3 if you were focused on expanding. I don't know. Either way, the progress relatively is very slow, whilst on the other hand, you have people that start with something else, gain some capital, and then start buying up clinics that are already pre-made, if that makes sense. And then they just focus on acquisition rather.
And also it's all all these things take decades also at times, right? So it's like build some capital and buying will be like, it will be a lot.
That will also be 10 years, but maybe you'll enjoy that more. It depends on what you like.
Exactly. That's why we pick some business where we don't kill ourselves during the process and we hate what we loved at some point, So
hopefully. I hope we don't do that accidentally. So what can we do to make that happen? I mean, for me, it's very obvious. It's just get a profile pic on LinkedIn at least.
Start advertising, talking to people. Start by talking to people who are already in the profession,
because how have you acquired most of your knowledge, right? You even your co-founders online, right? How did you find them? LinkedIn or?
LinkedIn, and then through talking to a lot of networks, and you finally get...
Because you'll eventually find some network that clicks with you.
For example, the best thing is I talked to a UK veterinarian recently. He told me what kind of vet you want to be. I said I want to be a mixed practice vet or something. He said okay, fine, okay. In UK there are almost no mixed practice vet,
Really?
There's always big clinics. They have horse vet, bovine vet, and then the small animal vet. They are all separate people. that's slowly being phased out and it's almost not at all there. You
Yeah,
know?
that's also something I noticed.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be a super eye specialist or a heart cardiologist.
Yeah, so that was a news for me that okay, in UK mixed practice is not really a thing. So it's like
Wow.
it's a shocking thing. So yeah, okay. So I have to start analyzing what I really wanted to do next. You know, all this stuff. Yeah.
And that's how you figure out most of these things, right? Is by talking to people on LinkedIn.
Talking, educating ourselves by doing field research. Just go Google it out. You know, we have the entire internet at our fingertips, literally. You know, these days. And then also reading, like now the PhD thing. I am ruling out stuff like cancer, stem cell, genetic engineering.
Something you really used to be really optimistic about before, right?
Yeah.
And you slowly rule it out or figure out things
Or
that
when
you
you
do like about it.
educate about that topic, whether is it feeling very enjoyable or it just sucks or you just are doing it because it's cool, you know.
Yeah.
I personally think maybe I chose stem cells because of its potential and not really having any interest in stem cells per se. And I also think like I don't know how to make it more, you know. I don't see myself how will I solve something with that which has not already been solved or is being solved already. I feel like maybe if I choose something else like genetic engineering, maybe there's a lot of potential, but still I have to still validate that because the easiest person to fool is yourself, you know. You are the first person to believe all your bullshit that you say to yourself. So I have to be more objective. One thing I'll say for sure is don't be emotional with any of your ideas. Just it's one of those ideas, okay? Whatever idea you have, it's just one idea. I'm just gonna validate it. If it does not follow my checklist, throw it out. Do not have any emotions. I'm a future veterinarian. Probably my veterinary medicine idea, the startup idea is not checking it, otherwise I throw it out. Probably I do something else in some other field that will make so much sense and take off, you know, give me the financial freedom to do whatever I wanted, even in veterinary medicine, you see. So I don't have to, because I'm a veterinarian, I have to do this or be, just let's not force ourselves into it, and also take emotional decisions. Don't fall in love with your products or company or ideas. These are just ideas, just companies. 90% of startups die in 3 years. So there it is. That's my 2 cents. Yeah,
most of them die quite quickly. Like, how many do an average person start before one actually takes off? I think it's quite high, right? How, like, the amount of companies that you have to make.
What it means to take off, right? What it means by taking off, like it's a lot of things, like getting acquired, exited, because I have seen guys just exit their company in 250k, 100k euros. They put like 20-30k, you know, like small exits. Also $1 million, $1 billion, 100 unicorn exit also I have seen in Switzerland when I went to the trip.
Unicorn exit.
$100 million or more.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have to say those things. Yeah, I need to explain these things. Yeah, so for the listeners.
For me too.
Yeah. That's good that you're asking me the questions. Yeah.
It's good that I don't know.
Anything. No, nobody knows anything, but we are all learning. Yeah.
Yes, that's a good way.
Yeah, I guess. We did like 48 minutes, 7 seconds, 50 minutes. I guess it's good time to wrap up. I guess.
But we can definitely continue the topic. But for like, lastly, what are you thinking of doing, I guess, this week to continue?
I am like continuing to read the book that I'm reading already and seeing some use cases, applications of biomedical engineering or biotechnology per se, which was something that I was so interested in my high school, you know, which I did not say because that's like a kind of like a come to Jesus moment, you know. Like, it's like because being a doctor is revered, you either choose human medicine, if not veterinary medicine. You know? Maybe
that's true.
I love animals, of course. I love to be a veterinarian and stuff. But I was actually really curious and interested genuinely about biotechnology and just genetic engineering and stuff at that time. That's why when I'm reading this book, it feels like, you know, very nostalgic, and I feel so excited, you know, that joy was not there in many other things that I did in engineering and other things, you know. It just feels more naturally. I'm excited to explore more.
But just make sure that it's not because it's a new thing. Rather, you see it jumping around.
Yeah, that's also something. Yeah, I have. That's why I'm validating the by the time I finish this book and by the time I have done all the validations of just going and talking to people who are experts in that field or talking to other people also like who are having companies in this field because these companies also fail as well a lot. Biomedical.
Like the biotechnical stuff fail a lot.
Yeah. They fail a lot as well.
Why is that? Is it because they're so like ambitious and technical? People don't really know what they're investing.
I mean, I do not know the full reason, but I know they fail a lot. Maybe that's a good thing that I need to research before the next podcast, a couple of podcasts, I guess.
Yeah, figure out why they fail.
Yeah, one reason that I can guess now from just knowing what are the stuff that I know till now is like they just come up with a niche and they think that's the next biggest thing, and then they get a lot of funding. That's the thing. Getting funding does not mean you're successful, No, that does not mean a company is sustainable, successful.
That's true.
You might have funding. The investors have the right to take the funding also in the middle. It does not mean...
really?
Yeah. The thing is, see, if you are getting 5 million or 2 million funded, they're not going to write you a check for 2 million. They'll say... They'll give you 2 million over the period of next 5 years, starting with 100,000 for the first year, and then the second year 250,000, third year 750k. It will increase based on that 750k you will get if your company you're proving to have customers, you're proving to grow your company. That's how they are willing to risk.
They don't give it all at once.
They won't give you like 2-3 million straight, and the fourth year, fifth year maybe you'll get the last million. You see, you will be given the bare minimum to prove yourself,
Yeah, so you can keep chugging and not stagnate.
You see, like we are learning, right, a lot about it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sucks for them.
Yeah, this is still a long way to go though, but we have to keep researching, googling all those things so that at some point we can pull the trigger and say this is what I want to do. Maybe after all the research. That's why we should be more evidence based and less emotional. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So that I'm able to say, like, you can ask me why will your startup be successful? Why it should not be successful, you can ask me those questions. That's why, right, whenever you say that whatever you are thinking, some idea that you are saying, whenever you pitch that, I'll ask all the critical questions of why it will fail, why it should be a horrible idea to start with.
It'll be a topic eventually.
And then if you start telling the facts, like, okay, this is the statistics, this many people tried this idea a lot, this many people try to succeed, this is why they fail, this is why I will succeed, this is my strength, this is my unique value proposition compared to the existing players. You have to
find
pitch,
counter arguments.
literally pitch with evidence based pitch.
You can counter the points, right?
Yeah,
so you can figure out how to actually make the thing work.
That's why also I will say do not get attached, right?
For sure. And also, I think, for the most part, I mean, I'm never really scared of people stealing our ideas either, because they always suck a little.
You know what? Like in EF they said, or this is a very common thing in entrepreneurship. If you say your idea and it is stealable, if it is easily copyable, then you should not do that business.
Because as soon as you launch, someone's bigger and then
they just can copy it instantly. There is no unique value proposition. What is your unique value? Right? That's what you have to think. If there's an idea worth stealing, then do not do that.
Because someone's gonna steal it.
Yeah.
Who's done this a lot more times than you have. Okay.
That's why Elon Musk is very open about his SpaceX projects, No secret or closed door. He'll just talk about Raptor engines, everything openly, because that is one of those ideas is hard to copy.
Yeah, like no one's gonna, I'm gonna make a Raptor engine in half a day instead of one per day.
And then like freaking launch rocket and bankrupt SpaceX. No.
I mean, if they do that, that's actually a good thing, right?
That's a great thing if they are able to manage to do those things, all the materials and stuff, the rocket materials.
So I don't think even Elon would be upset if that happened.
Yeah, he'll be happy.
He'd probably invest in you.
Yeah.
So but what are you going to do, I guess, over this next week then, in order to figure out a little bit more?
I have shortlisted couple more new labs. I just wanted to spend some time browsing what they do actually and see whether if I like those things honestly or not. That's something I'm gonna do.
How can you figure out if stem cells is for you? Have you linked up with anyone who does this similar research?
The thing is, the more and more research you do or more you study about it, you get a picture of where the technology is going. I personally, what I do is I start seeing what is the potential of it.
Yeah, the potential is,
yeah.
I mean, it's a stem cell is the
Yeah.
basis of all different
Yeah.
cells.
So I see stem cell mostly as a business opportunity and not as a PhD. You see what I mean? Why should I need a PhD for making a stem cell company?
Yeah, so
But
that
if
you
I-
know it enough to like make something productive out of it.
No, what I am trying to say is, I personally think you don't need that much of an expertise.
You don't need
still
a PhD.
Yeah, you don't need a PhD level expertise to do that. You know, I could maybe work for a stem cell company couple of years and I will know like what are the incubators they use to store the cells, how is everything
Okay.
working, what are the laws and regulations behind it, and how are they doing.
And what's the capability of the current technology?
But of course, I mean, I'm just saying in a generalized way, very superficial way. You need to know a lot of stuff technically as well.
Probably.
From a stem cell perspective. But I personally think it's hard to distinguish yourself from your competitors. That's what I would say. That's the biggest red flag of that thing. How you start a stem cell company, okay?
Yeah.
I start a stem cell company. How are we different? Okay, you do dogs, I do cats. Okay, next summer I'm gonna do dogs as well. Was the other animal as well. So
then all of a sudden I have one animal and you have two animals.
No, and then you also do cats.
Yeah.
How are we different?
Yeah, then we're the same.
And then we do equine, both of us. It's all the same. Only thing will be pricing at that point.
Yeah. So you only have to, so you're trying to figure out what you can do with a stem cell in order to make something out of it?
Or your technology is so unique enough that you hold some IP, like patenting.
Yeah, kind of like the Odin thing?
Yeah. I mean, Odin is not patented. The point of Odin is it's all open source. Anybody can do it. Anybody can do that.
Yeah, anybody can. Yeah.
So the thing is, I would say CRISPR. CRISPR is patented by Jennifer Doudna and then the Fen Zhang of Harvard, MIT, the Broad Institute. So there's two patents given to these two people for CRISPR. They have the license for the next 10 years. Patent is where you can hold the rights for 10 years, right? So they hold all the rights to it. So they are having CRISPR Therapeuticals and then another company, editing technology something. That's one way of protecting your IP. But that's a big topic. I'm for sure we are running out of time. Definitely we should discuss that topic more though. How are we gonna do it? Yeah. But how about you? What your plan, your idea? God. How are you gonna
scrutinize? Okay, the way that I can try and do it is, first of all, I don't have any social media accounts, and I realize that
but you don't always have to talk to them. In my case, currently, I'm just researching about the laws. I'm not talking to anybody unless I am really comfortable. I believe that this is it or something, you know.
Yeah. Okay, so but the meaning that I have with that is that since I have no social media, I cannot look at what the people that have done similar things to me, what they're doing, because they're not, they're not on LinkedIn, but
whenever you talk about the idea, I can help you clearly because I clearly don't understand it. Honest, because what is it, biology related or is it fucking carpentry? I don't know. Like I don't understand anything. Like the thing is, if you are saying like currently like you do not know where your competitors are, how are they different from you, or if there are even competitors, what are they doing?
Not necessarily competitors. Seeing what people that are doing what you want to try and do. How do they manage to achieve the same?
Right?
Technically, yes, but at that point, they're kind of more potential mentors at that point.
But why will they help you to create a competition for them in the future? Like I have a stem cell company, you come and say, I'm really interested in stem cell. Yeah, I'll give you an internship job. I'll give you a scientist role. But I will not help you create another company that's going to
bankrupt yours.
Yeah, share the pie, you know, literally the money part of it.
Yeah, it's like a capitalist way.
Yeah. The world outside is so brutal, you know, like the co-founders only fight like so much. How would a competitor is going to help you?
Like, how is a competitor?
So they are competitors is something we have to best make sure
Mm.
that's the point, right? They are competitors and
Yeah, it'll probably make more sense once I.
yeah, but for sure next week we will talk more on that maybe if you want, but
Yeah, for now I think just trying to.
we did a good brief nice talk about all the stuff that we experience in both of our lives and
Yeah, and especially talking about things like this where what the hell to do next is something that we mostly talk about anyway. So so it's a natural topic. So we'll definitely have more on it.
Yeah.
So
see you guys.
we'll see you
Bye.
probably some other.